Good morning, Mike.
Nicholas, the kids, Jayhawks, on top of the world. Fraud watch, validated. How are you feeling?
I'm buzzing. The boys are buzzing on a Monday morning. It was tough for
Nation's buzzing.
It was tough for me to wait this long to record this episode. I was ready to go at about 5:00 on Saturday. You know what I actually low-key love about KU's win over Oklahoma is that the game lasted 9 hours, right? The rain delay actually was pretty sick because that was a great moment in time, and that moment in time lasted longer because of the rain delay. Actually, I was traveling on Saturday. I wouldn't have been able to watch the end of that game if it weren't for the lightning delay. So
it was meant to be.
Sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week, weather. Inclement weather.
Mother Nature. Yes. You have done it again. And now all of KU Nation calling their doctor. Things were lasted more than 4 hours.
Yeah. What do I do here?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Oh, doctor. Hello. Oh, that's just Mother Nature. You're good. Yeah. Keep going. Hang up the phone. Thanks, doc.
I'm going to be honest with you. Today's show is probably going to be a little bit more free flowing than it normally is, given the nature of what KU fans are going through. I don't really want to stick to a hard, fast rundown today because, by the way, the Show It All Gang is the sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Because we got a lot of submissions, so many that we can't even get to them all today.
No, we can't show them all.
We cannot. Time will not allow us to show them all. I would say this though, we as a podcast are sort of in the same boat that Kansas football is as a program, right? Because KU beats Oklahoma on Saturday. And for a lot of people, it was reminiscing about, look how far we've come. Look at where we were at just 3 years ago as a program. And I feel the same way with us as a program. Look at where we were just 6 weeks ago, begging people to send us submissions, begging people to give us their takes. And maybe if we were lucky, we would get one, just like 2 years ago. Maybe if Kansas was lucky, they would get one win. But now look at us.
Dream podcast. Dream season. Our DMs are full of people showing it.
Dude,
and they show it tastefully.
People wanted to show it on Saturday. We hardly had to ask. We hardly had to pry. That was a game that I think has now supplanted KU Texas 2 years ago.
Is supplanted a word? I don't think it is. Google. Nope, it's not. It is not a word. It is supplanted.
Oh, it's the English version. I think it's the British
okay.
Version.
Well, okay. Then we'll keep it. You have to say it with an accent. You have to do it right now. Accent.
No, I'm just going to change supplanted. I'm just going to change to supplanted. I've been saying surplant for years.
It is.
No one's corrected me.
Supplanted. The Jayhawks.
That was bad. Bad British accent. Guy on a straight to DVD English guy playing a British guy. So
still got the job.
There's not much to give you for the rundown other than KU beats Oklahoma.
Yep.
Jason Bean is the anti-hero that we've needed, that we've yearned for a long, long time. Oklahoma Fraud Watch has been validated. The Show It All Gang is going to carry us today. We've got a lot of submissions, and we're going to get to as many as we possibly can. Goalposts back in Potter Lake where they belong. It's been a while. It's been a while since the goalposts have been in Potter Lake. It was a great moment for all involved. Vibe check, record predictions. I'd like to think that's going to be a fun one. We'll get to our suckbag loser of the week. We'll get to our sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week. And we will look ahead to Kansas, Iowa State this Saturday. 4 games left, Mike. 4 games left.
Wow.
To accomplish the dream season.
Dream season.
I just said dream season and Mike's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. All of that and much, much more. This is Could Be Wrong.
And I could be wrong. You guys could look at this. And I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. You'd have to ask him. But
all right, Mike. Kansas beats Oklahoma 38-33. It was the first time since 1997, I believe, that Kansas has beat Oklahoma. And I would say this is going to be tough to beat for a long, long, long time as the sweetest Kansas football victory since when. I know we're going to get to this in some of the submissions, but to beat Oklahoma in one of the last times that you're ever going to play them, like, I don't know. I can't imagine 6 years from now when Oklahoma is getting their ass whooped in the SEC every year, that like the two parties are going to get together and say, you know what, this was such a good rivalry. We need to get it back together. Like this is not a rivalry. This is not one of the games that people talk about in the Big 12. It's not a game that Kansas fans talk about. It's not a game that Oklahoma fans talk about. So I can't imagine there's going to be,
you're sick.
There's not going to be a ton of interest to get this back together. So the fact that like you beat Oklahoma on their way out to give them their first loss of the season, it's the sweetest KU win that I can remember. I think it takes over Kansas, Texas from 2 years ago.
Would you say it's supplanted? Supplanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would actually.
Was that better, by the way?
No, it was the same. It was pretty much identical to the first try.
Weird. Are we getting into ranking this loss right now?
Or when? You mean?
Wow, sorry. The loss for Oklahoma.
No, we can get to that later if you want. Because I know one of the submissions that we're going to get into talks about it.
Yeah, then definitely, I completely agree on it. It has supplanted and surpassed the Texas game. We can leave it there. What it means for the program on the come up right now and solidifying yourself as the real deal. Hashtag Devin Neal. Hashtag Brian Haney. What they're trying to do, Oklahoma on the way out, like you said, and looking at the future landscape and in the statement this made, this is the best conference win that I can remember. The timing, the way that it happened, I mean, it is just so exciting. It is so exciting.
So what's interesting to me about this win is that when you come up with the formula ahead of time to figure out, okay, what's it going to take for Kansas to no, this is sports guy talk. This is not sports nerd talk.
Nope. Formula. So glasses are on, everyone. He said formula.
He's even wiping them off. He's wiping the glasses off.
Yeah, keep going.
You would think, okay, you need Oklahoma to play like their B or C game. A lot of mental mistakes, a lot of unforced errors. You need some things to go your way. And early in the game, it was kind of following that line with Mello Dotson getting the pick six. You say, okay, those are the sorts of plays you need to pull off an upset of this caliber. And really quick before I keep going, I know that on paper, this really isn't that big of an upset. KU on Friday night. So I think the line closed at around 8.5. It was at 10 most of the week. Friday night, I saw it at 6.5, Mike. So less than a touchdown.
It got steamed late. Yeah, on Saturday, it kept going. Whoop, whoop.
What does steamed mean? Is
big boy. Talk? Yeah. Big bets coming in late on Kansas. That's what it meant. So that's when really I was funny. I was watching that line crash late toward Kansas, and I'm like, oh, yeah, steamed.
So if you're not a Big 12 fan and you had no knowledge of either of these programs, you'd say, what's the big deal? But knowing the history of Kansas, knowing the history of Oklahoma, this is a massive win. Yet everything was kind of breaking Kansas's way. Then the lightning delay hits. It was 14-7. Oklahoma promptly comes out, takes a 21-14 lead, and you kind of think, okay, well, there it was, and there it went. But the last 6 minutes and change of that game was on drugs. That game was on cocaine for the final 6:38. Because KU shouldn't have won that game. Like, there's no reasonable explanation for how Kansas got out of there with the way that their quarterback was playing, with the mistakes that they made down the stretch where you're saying, can't do that and expect to win, can't do that and expect to win. Like, Bean had 2 bad interceptions. That's not even counting what I think was the worst play of the game that didn't end up mattering, was when he slid. He gave himself up on 3rd and goal. Fortunately, Devin Neal punched it in, so like it doesn't really matter. But to me, like, that was the one play where I look back on and say, like, what are you doing? The game was on the line. I don't care if the coaches are telling you not to take hits. Like, they don't want you to take hits so you're healthy for moments like that against Oklahoma with the chance to win. Like, what are you saving yourself for at this point? This is kind of the point here, man.
That's one of the most infuriating football plays I can ever remember. I think you're trying to take the lead against Oklahoma in the 4th quarter, 3rd quarter,
maybe
early
late 4th. 3rd.
Right around then. And you're sliding on the literal goal line. I've never seen anything like it. It was so bad that it resulted in a targeting because Oklahoma's defender was already headed toward Bean's legs. Never could have imagined possibly that he was sliding. I mean, like, are we talking about the slide right now? It was infuriating.
It will end up being a footnote, right? It's not awesome. Not even a footnote.
No. When we talk about the game, it's going to be like, and remember Jason Bean going erratic? The whole end was out of control.
But that's it, because it's like, okay, what do you need to happen for KU to win this game? Well, you need Bean to play his A game. KU's got to play their A game. Oklahoma's got to play their B or C game. I look back on it and say, yeah, Oklahoma probably did play their B and C game, but Jason Bean played his B or C game too. And somehow KU won. And I think the missing factor to this equation, Mike.
Oh.
Put the glasses back on. Go ahead. Put them on. Is the defense. KU's defense won them this game. Because after that, the second bad interception, where it was like a screenplay at the line of scrimmage, and he just throws it to the guy on the running back, KU got a 3-and-out. KU forced a 3-and-out. Oklahoma punted. It goes into the end zone. KU comes down, scores the game-winning drive. Oklahoma gets the ball back, and once again, KU gets a stop to hold the victory. The 2 biggest possessions of the game, in my humble opinion, were when KU was on defense.
Yeah.
That is where they won the game. And I have been shitting on this defense all season long. Yes, they're better. They're still not good. They got 2 massive gotta-have-it stops at the end of that game. And to me, that is the difference, and that's why KU was able to beat them.
Here's an equation. Neal squared plus defense squared equals Jayhawks win. That's the Leipold. That's the Leipold theorem.
No, Devin Neal was good. Devin Neal was good again.
You're right. Interception. There's a missed field goal before the 2 picks in a 1-score game with Oklahoma, and you win. Like, 4th quarter includes one-score game against Oklahoma, missed field goal, pick, and you still win. That's it. That is absolutely the defense. Were we wrong? Have they gotten better? They just stepped up in the right moment. Bend, don't break. Switchy to fucking get the 3-and-out. They went sicko mode defense. Switchy, late 4th quarter. Fans on the field. That's an equation.
Fans on the field.
I'm not making sense because I am so fired up.
Goalposts in Potter Lake.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a Potter Lake post-game celebration?
Yes.
Which game? Do you remember? You gave me a look that was a ridiculous question. You think about it. I have to show you something.
Am I supposed to talk right now? You just left. Actually, I don't think so because am I supposed to talk? Is that the goalpost?
Not from this week.
No, I know that.
That is from Kansas, Nebraska in 2006. I think it says November 5th, 2006. KU beat Nebraska 40-15 to end a 36-year losing streak. People forget.
Is a great piece of history.
So I stuck around while I remember at the time the protocol was, I don't know if this is still the situation, but at the time, after they throw the goalposts in the lake, like members of the athletic department, or like there was 5 or 6 people who came up dressed in suits, and they had to determine whether or not the goalposts were going to remain usable.
Oh, cannot be the case anymore.
Well, because they're expensive. Like they're like $10,000 or $15,000. And they came down, they were like, yeah, we can't use these. So at that point, it's just free to do whatever you want with. And historically, they would take one and throw them in the Chi Omega fountain. And I was able to get the crossbar. And my dad, I was a kid at the time, my dad had like a Sawzall in the back of his truck. And he came down and just started lopping pieces off for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Your dad
is my dad
a hero.
Is my dad the sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week?
Yeah. Yes.
Circa 2006?
Yes. Absolutely. Retroactive, sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week. You never got what you earned and deserved. You never got credit for the joy you gave many Jayhawk fans that day, and you were ready. That makes you the sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week. Circa 2006. Maybe the year. Maybe the
entire year. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Can I give a rundown of bad Jason Bean plays? Because like we're all over the place.
Yeah, I don't care though. That's fine.
I know. A friend texted me this. It was just off of memory, some Jason Bean plays, including the interception at the last interception on the screen, the wide open tight end in the back of the end zone, and KU had to settle for a field goal. That did happen.
Oh yeah, Fairchild was wide open.
Threw a pass that went right through the OU defender's hands on the sideline and somehow was caught by Lawrence Arnold. Slid short of the end zone on a 3rd down. Horrible pass short of a wide open wide receiver on the 2-point conversion. The pick right to the linebacker on the screen. Okay, that was already in there. There was also the pick OU dropped before the real interception, where he threw it right to the dude. And this is at the end, guy right to the hands, like a bullet to OU in the 4th quarter. And then first possession, this wasn't on there, but I remember it, the little trick play where it was either Fairchild or Casey was like wide open for 20, 25 yards, ripped off and shorted him again. So there were some horrible plays in this game by Jason Bean.
So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to tell you right now to put your glasses on.
Okay.
You're going to want to put your glasses on for this.
Okay.
This is,
I saw this.
Yeah, this is like net success. This guy does this every week. And I already apologize because I was going to give him credit, but I forgot to write down his Twitter handle.
At Stats of War, I believe.
There you go. So basically this tells you the success rate of each team to tell you like how bad did this team really win. And if you look all the way over here
on the left,
on
the bad side,
you'll see Oklahoma's success rate much higher than Kansas's, which would telling you how to interpret this information. Oklahoma should have won. And not only should Oklahoma have won this game, they probably should have won by a pretty hefty margin. I I don't really know how to interpret this information other than to say, KU won and they stole one.
Here's my interpretation. This is Jason Bean's world, and we're all just living in it. That's it.
Is this just like progression to the mean for progression to the bean? Even perhaps some would say.
Is the stat regression to the mean?
You know, KU's got some bad beats over the years, and this is just the world correcting itself.
Yes. Yeah. Every time KU gets a good bounce, I literally basically say that to myself. Like, I had like 20 years of bad bounces the other way. We were due for that one. Like, I truly like self-soothe therapy like myself during games and be like, yeah, we were owed that. And I think a decade of good bounces can still come, and I would say it. So glasses off.
Glasses off now. Good combo. Good combo between us. Good job by both of us.
Good take.
With Jason Bean, like, where do we go from here about like, all right, what does this mean for him? I saw a lot of stuff. You know, people were giving him his flowers after the game, which totally understandable. Like, great moment, cool moment, historic moment. We're always going to remember that in him. As for like this idea that now he is absolved of any criticism, like, I'm going to be the first to tell you, not happening.
I would say you have defended the Bean up until this point,
but now we've overcorrected. Now we're to the point where it's like, never say a bad word about this man again. It's like, oh, I will, because I'm sure he'll do some things that are going to piss me off again. But I mean, I give him his flowers for this moment, because people were saying after the game, like, man, this guy made some clutch throws down the stretch. I hate to rain on the parade here, but not really. Okay. Like the 4th down throw he made to Lawrence Arnold, like Lawrence Arnold couldn't have been any more wide open. So to act like he just threw it in a window and like, oh, how many backup quarterbacks are making that pass? I think probably quite a few, if we're being honest here. But it's not to take away from him. I just want to put everything in context here. Jason Bean got the win. He's a legend for that. He is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the country. Yes. However, I'm not going to act like this dude is untouchable now because he was the quarterback at the helm for KU getting this massive win. I hope because he played better against Oklahoma State than he played against Oklahoma. Can we just be very clear about this? He was much better against Oklahoma State. The common denominator in both those games is he got a butthole puckered up a little bit down the stretch.
He cropped his pants at the end. He got poop pants.
He got a little tight down the stretch, but you know what? Got the dub. All that matters, and he is forever a legend. Speaking of poop, Mike, I bet you didn't think that was going to be a natural transition. The show all gang.
I sensed it, so I just wanted to throw the alley-oop, like, you know, DeJuan
the show it all gang, I mean, just couldn't have come through more in the clutch this past weekend. We've got videos, we've got text submissions. If you have takes before, after, during a game, anytime during the week, DM us at Could Be Wrong Pod on Twitter, and we will show it all. So let's get to our first submission. I believe this is a video.
Can I just say
a recurring video?
I haven't watched any of these. So you did it. You watched and organized, and I thank you for that. I wanted to react in real time with the show it all gang. So thank you for listening. So these are first time I'm seeing this. So I'm kind of curious.
Hey
about
Nick,
pants.
Mike, Rock Chalk. 2 weeks ago, we were in absolute turmoil, and I brought some positivity and said this is exactly what the Hawks needed, was a shitting of the pants. And then we were going to bounce back and beat the Sooners and send them on their way. Well, guess what? Dr. Shits was right. That's right. I'm the doctor that ordered the pants shitting, and it paid off. Rock Chalk, the dream season lives on. Let's go.
Dr. Shits.
I put my glasses are on because there was a doctor speaking to us.
Yeah, that's right. Medical expert, Dr. Pants Shits. I feel like
the doctor looked at KU and said, I got an idea. Shit your pants. I think it'll help down the line. And the doctor was right again.
If KU hadn't have blown the lead against Oklahoma State, would they have won that game on Saturday?
Oh, well, I'm going to go with Dr. Shitpants and say no. You gotta learn.
Losses are good. Spin zone losses actually are good.
Especially shout out Kansas basketball. Scrimmage losses on TV where you're embarrassed and don't count toward your record. Okay, back to football.
Wait a minute. Weren't you just dumping on K-State for losing a scrimmage last week?
Yeah, my dump was not on them losing. It was that no reporter was going to acknowledge the loss. I just wanted to make fun of the fact that I found out about it and was able to tell the world.
I think that's a convenient emergency exit for you. I think there was a little bit of shitting on K-State for losing that game.
Yeah, but I don't really care. I'm not a big secret scrimmage guy. I think it's really funny that they were trying to hide it. That's my come on. That is right in line with 2 years of shitting on media and reporting stuff. Come on, that is right in line. You know that. You know that.
I think there's part of you. That was shitting on K-State for the loss itself. But you know what? Positive vibes only here. Let's get to the.
All right. Sorry, Dr. Pantshit. Thank you for your submission and thank you for what you ordered.
Hey guys, it is the aforementioned Pantone Guy from last week's episode, calling in this week for two reasons. Number one, to defend my use of the word Pantone as it is correct. And number two, propose a hypothetical question. I could be wrong, but is Jason Bean the single most polarizing athlete we've seen at Kansas in the last 15 seasons? Would love to hear where he ranks on your list of other KU stars like Tyshawn Taylor, David McCormick, Montel Cozart, Kevin Young. You get the picture. Keep up the great work. Rock Chalk.
Pantone guy. Shout out the Kansas football loyalists. The group text. That's where Pantone guy comes from.
Most polarizing KU athletes. I think it has to be a basketball player.
It's McCormick. It's David McCormick. At the time, it's probably McCormick. Tyshawn
Taylor. Yeah.
In the moment, until he of course, he also ended on a good note, but Tyshawn was really polarizing and letting it all out on Twitter for a while. Elijah, pretty polarizing as well.
Yeah, it has to be a basketball player because to be polarizing, there have to be baked in expectations for the team. And then if you're the guy who seemingly is holding that team back, that's when you become polarizing. If you feel like David McCormick's playing and he's getting too many touches. Why is he playing so much? Why isn't Bill playing this other kid? That's when you become polarizing. With football, the expectations have been so low that it's tough to throw any player in there. And I know he mentioned a couple, Montel Cozart. I can't remember who the other guy was that he had mentioned. But Bean is entering that conversation solely because KU is good now.
Yeah.
Right now, the fact that KU has expectations, they're a top 25 team, feel like you should have beat Oklahoma State 2 weeks ago. If you did, where would you be ranked now after this win? Maybe you're going to be in the first college football playoff rankings that come out. But historically speaking, it's tough to put a backup quarterback in that same conversation. But, this is a very democratic thing. If you get shit on a lot, you therefore become polarizing. And Jason Bean has gotten his fair share of criticism, so
he's in the game.
Up there.
Yeah, he is up there. I don't think he's at the top of the list for the reasons you just mentioned, though. Also, there's kind of a shared experience with Jason Bean that I'm not sure is really. I don't think there's too much arguing because everyone is feeling that together. Whereas McCormick will go 20-10 and then miss a game-winning shot and get shat on. A game winning jumper for the record. So I say David McCormick's probably number one.
With KU, we're not going to talk really much about the KU basketball scrimmage solely because neither one of us watched it, and I have no intention on watching it. Did you watch it?
I watched most of it. I was traveling, unexpected weekend flight, so didn't really have much of a choice. I watched most of it, but it doesn't matter. Kansas football beat Oklahoma. That's
exactly.
it.
And that's like, I didn't watch it. I will not watch it. I don't care. Like, let me know when the real games start, sort of situation. But I would say this, like KU basketball fans, like I feel like for most of us, we don't see the overlap in our fandom between football and basketball. And we don't recognize how quickly we turn into a KU basketball fan when KU football gets just like a little good. KU football gets a little good, and all of a sudden we're like, nope, we're going to take that same mindset of over-analyzing every little thing that happens and absolutely shitting on guys when they don't play to our expectations. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening with Jason Bean right now.
That's an excellent take. I just want to give you credit because that is so true. The KU football fan expectations get outlandish really fast because we've never really seen this. Yeah. This like 8-win thing isn't really a Kansas football thing historically. So like
you ever had a friend, you ever had a friend, like a buddy of yours who like hasn't dated anyone in a while, and then he meets a girl and maybe they're starting to get a little bit more serious, and then immediately just like boom, all in, don't want to screw this up. Like, I'm going to be the best boyfriend. I'm going to bend over backwards to help this girl out, do whatever she wants. And then it starts to fall apart. And then you're like, yeah, right. It's like you get in too deep because you're like, I don't want to mess this up. I don't know when the next opportunity is going to come. That's what KU football is doing right now. They have a girlfriend for the first time in 6 years, and they're all in. It's fun. It's going to be hot and fast and sweaty and fun.
You're moving in together?
Yeah, already?
It's been
you guys
10 months.
All right, let's get to the next one here.
Shout out Pantone.
Shout out Pantone Guy. Okay. This is a text. All the rest of them are going to be texts. Hey, fellas, tried sending in an audio file. Seemed like I'm okay. Blah, blah, blah. Number one, what a freaking game for those of us who have been along for the ride for the past 20-ish years or so. Number two, it is so great to have a quarterback and a backup at that will keep us in a game against OU. Too many times as a KU fan, I felt like Mike Winchell asking my coach, you believe in curses? Every time KU has had a chance in the past, it's felt like a curse has entered the game and sent it down the drain. It's nice to have a coach that shuts that down. Lastly, I guess, what a ride on the old Beano Express. Let's circle back to that. That dude deserves so much credit as a Jayhawk, but people have to realize exactly what he is. He makes plays when coaches put him in a position to make a play. He isn't a gunslinger. If you dial up a good play and his teammates execute, he will typically make it for you. But he relies heavily on his offensive teammates, his coaches, and his defense, which is great, but leaves KU fans feeling robbed after seeing Jalon play the superhero against lesser opponents, in parentheses.
Whoa.
Have a good one. The dream season is still alive. See everybody in Arlington against ... Also, this is immediately after the game and at least 14 beers. Please have mercy on me. This is full of good takes. He is self-analyzing. He is self-analyzing in real time. Also, just a Jason Bean and David McCormick comparison, and that seems ridiculously fitting. It is fitting because we just talked about it. I'm going to go in reverse here. This guy is the Mike Vernon. He is the Mike Vernon of good submissions.
Good take? Oh, I'm a big self-analyze immediately after I speak. Should I have said that?
To give a take and say that is full of good takes.
No, I like it. I like it too.
I think his analysis of Jason Bean is very good. Probably more succinct than either one of us, and neither one of us have 14 beers in our system. Like, Bean is a backup quarterback. He is a product of the system. He's a product of the environment. System quarterback. Ooh, wow. Is that what he's saying? Jason Bean, system quarterback.
Here's my the Jason Bean thing that I don't think we've touched on, and I don't think that this totally is getting at and needs to be said, is that It is just a matter of confidence. Like, I'm fairly certain, because the second something goes wrong, he kind of falls apart. When he's confident and calm, he can be really good. And I think that plays into like the system and the guys making plays around him. So that's kind of where I'm leading into. Like, yes and no. It's a matter of confidence in what he does for the team around him. I don't think he's a system QB. I don't think that's it.
I do actually. Well, I don't know if it's system, but this is actually funny, by the way. When we talked about Jason Bean earlier in this season, I said it was between the ears. It was a confidence thing. And you were like, no, he's just not that good. So now we have completely role reversed.
We cross swords.
You're into the between the ears stuff. I genuinely agree with what he's saying, which is that like when everything around him is operating how it should, he is going to look like a competent quarterback. It's the Kirk Cousins effect.
Yeah,
it's the Kirk Cousins
I agree with
effect.
that. I agree with that.
When it's a good play call and the players are separating, like he's going to make the play. When there's pressure in his face, when the play breaks down, the moments where Jalon is so good, right? The improvisation stuff.
Yes, that I agree with.
That is when Jason Bean is uncomfortable. That is when he does not execute. So, like, to me, you can call it whatever you want, the it factor, but he's going to perform well when things are working the way they should. When it's crunch time and all of a sudden things are kind of falling apart, that's when you see his warts a little bit. Now, granted, I'm not taking anything away from the game-winning drive, but like the two drives that preceded that, he was about as bad as it could be. Then all of a sudden, Lawrence Arnold's got separation by 5 yards. What's he do? He finds the open guy and hits him. Like that, to me, is a microcosm of who Jason Bean is.
I'd just like to say, we saw him miss some wide open dudes, though. Like, that's it.
What? Is there a point to that? You going to tie a bow on that thought?
I disagree. He's missing wide open dudes. But they're chaotic moments. They're chaotic moments.
He's not perfect in those situations, but like
then
I'm talking about the totality of who he
nuance.
is.
You're a nuance. You're bringing in nuance.
You don't like that? No more nuance?
No. I'm generally pro nuance.
Let's get to the next one here.
I don't totally agree.
You okay? Okay.
No, I just wanted to make noises.
Hello, Nick and Michael, current KU student writing this from the Bowl.
Yes.
Shout out the Bowl. My take is that this is the biggest win in program history. Granted, I was 5 years old for the Orange Bowl, but in terms of trajectory and the implications behind it, last OU game, Leipold completing the turnaround, etc., this has to be it. Dream season is alive. Bullwinkle's season is alive. Lawrence, Kansas may burn down tonight. Coach K showed it all with those silly-ass pre-snap shifts and made the game easy for Bean. From potential fraud to hot, sexy mofo of the week, you tell me. There's a lot to dig into here in this one. First off, Bullwinkle season alive. I love that. It's officially Bullwinkle season in Lawrence. I believe they have a heated patio, so
wow,
that's big time.
How the bowl has changed.
Lawrence, yeah, it has. I didn't go to the old bowl that much, but then I worked at the new bowl, so I can here's the thing. I'm more youthful in spirit than you are. You're a nostalgia guy. You're an old bowl guy. I can relate to the youth of today. I can relate to the KU students of today.
Zins in new bowl. That's where you're at. I'm just at old bowl banging on wood's slats that were falling apart out there on the patio.
Yeah, old bowl was pretty gross.
It was bad.
Old bowl made the Hawk look like the Oriad.
Yeah. No,
in comparison.
It's a Kansas football story. Old bowl and new bowl.
So the last thought that I want to touch on here is, first off, biggest win since it's the biggest win since Texas for sure. And I said earlier, I think it jumps the Texas win.
We both do. We both agree on that.
And then before that, there's a decade of pretty much nothing. And the thing about big wins is, what do you do with them? Like 2 years ago, you beat Texas in a lost season, but what it provided you was a glimpse into the future of like what Lance Leipold is bringing to this university and to this program. This is bigger than that because you beat Oklahoma. KU has played Texas tight. Oklahoma has been in Texas since really 2009. Like they have not been the Texas that historically like we think of when we think of Texas football. Oklahoma hasn't really seen that drop off. Now last year down season, but they come back this year. They beat Texas earlier, 7-0, top 10 team in the country. To beat that team that you've never really played close before the last 2 years, really like, hey, wait a minute. Detour. Does Lance Leipold own Oklahoma?
Oh, yes.
Caleb Williams cheated 2 years ago.
Yes.
For them to get the win.
Yep.
Now, Lance Leipold career 1-2 against Oklahoma, and will probably finish his career 1-2 against Oklahoma. But that's probably a better win percentage than basically every Kansas coach ever against Oklahoma. So I think
he owns them.
I think it's in play here.
He
does.
Yeah.
So I think you'd have to go back to
it's the Orange Bowl. Man.
I really do think you go back to the Orange Bowl win.
Yeah.
And given the state of this program and the opponent and the season that you're in, I'm not going to put this ahead of the Orange Bowl win. I would say by the end of the season, we could look back on that and say, like retroactively, that's the biggest Kansas win of my lifetime. But you have to finish the year. Like if you go out and lose to Iowa State this weekend, then the conversation's dead.
Yep.
But if the dream season happens, different combo.
And the dream season is alive. No, I agree. Can't put it ahead of Orange Bowl yet. But Orange Bowl, you are on fraud watch. Can we say that?
Orange Bowl's on fraud watch?
The Orange Bowl win is on fraud watch as the biggest win in key football modern history. Huh? Good take?
Yeah, that's actually a great take.
Okay.
Last thing from this submission I want to address his end where he said Coach K showed it all with the silly pre-snap shifts, made the game easy for Bean. Did Coach K go from potential fraud to hot sexy mofo of the week? I don't think Coach K was ever on fraud watch, even though I think I put him on fraud watch. That was more tongue in cheek because of the criticism that he was getting. I've remained pretty consistent on this take since the beginning of the year. I do not like the idea that we can hype a guy up all season and then there's one sequence where you don't love the play calling and then say, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah. You've been
I'm not saying you can't criticize a guy. I'm not saying these guys are immune to any pushback on how they execute, but like, come on. This guy is being universally lauded around college football as being one of the most innovative offensive play callers. Like he was never on fraud watch. And I think he is, if not as valuable to this program as Lance Leipold is, like he's the 1B to the 1A because he is the offensive master behind KU's turnaround.
He is not my nominee for sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week, but he is close. He's 1B. As you just said,
he's a finalist.
I completely agree. Yeah, he's actually the first runner up. If this were a pageant, he's first runner up. He is a cool, rich, good looking mofo, but he's not sick, rich, hot, badass mofo.
This one is a short one. Stuck in the world of what if, thinking about us taking care of business in Stillwater. Dream season still on track, but maybe dream season B, not A. I actually disagree with this.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think you can play revisionist history with this sort of stuff. I know it's natural and fun to do that, but I'm not saying that like a loss leads to a win. I do believe in like the butterfly effect of things where you are like just the idea that every single thing over the last 2 weeks, right? Because you had a bye week after the Oklahoma State. The idea that every single part of your preparation and your game plan and your mindset going into the Oklahoma game would have been identical had you won or lost the Oklahoma State game. It's just not the way human nature works. Like, we are influenced by past outcomes. So I'm not saying they couldn't have won both of those games. I am saying that, like, KU beat Oklahoma. It was a 1 in a million sort of situation, or maybe a 1 in 100 sort of situation. So I'm not going to entertain the idea that, like, oh, if only you would have beaten Oklahoma State, then you'd be sitting here at 7-1 and have your eyes on a college football playoff. Like, that's just not the way it works.
You see what I'm doing?
What are you doing? It's annoying the shit out of me.
I know.
You did that the entire time I was talking, and it took every single fiber of my being to not, like, become distracted by it. Mike's doing this stupid little gyration where it looks like he's, like, spanking a ghost in front of him who's, like, writing his face or something. What are you doing?
I'm doing butterfly wings, motherfucker.
Well, you were gyrating and, like, humping.
Yeah, that's what a butterfly does.
Stupid.
No, you're
stupid ass.
The dream season A is alive. That's it. I think 10-2 win over Oklahoma, Arlington. It's all on the table still. That is dream season A. It doesn't have. We will take this. Dream season is alive. Nick, you are, even though you were just mean to me, you're my second runner up for Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo of the week because you put Oklahoma on Fraud Watch. You said the dream season was alive. You nailed it. You have been on fire. You sent me a video of your golf swing. It was really good. I'm pretty jealous. In your second runner up, Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo of the week. Maybe one day you will win, as I have, but you're not. Andy Kotelnicki is first, and then we'll get to my winner. So props to you. Even though you didn't like my butterfly wings, that it might have looked like I was
just
thinking.
That thought really just kind of
goes on my face. Okay,
tapered off.
You did great
at the end. There.
You did great.
By the way, I did post a second video. I did post a second video of my golf swing that you can find on my Twitter account at Nick_Schwart. So if you want more golf content, that's where you can find it.
I don't even remember. Dream season. It's alive. Dream season's alive. There. I'm back at it.
Nice little detour there. This one, not really a take, but it's because I have a funny story to go along with it. This guy at 2:21 sent a DM to us that said, once again, he pisses down his leg in a huge moment.
Hold on. 2:21 on Saturday during the game.
During the game.
Yeah.
So game not over. Okay. And my phone, I got the notification on my phone, and it was during the game, and it was right after the second interception. And then he posts a meme or a graphic from Jarrett Allen, who's played like shit in the NBA playoffs last year. And it's a quote that says, "The lights were brighter than expected." And 8 minutes later, the same guy sends another response, says, "Hand up, let's fucking go." The dream season is so back. And I'm only saying this because, for full transparency here, I had a Jason Bean tweet typed out, ready to press send. And I took my eyes away from the screen, and I just went to look to see if, like, the game's over. And Oklahoma had the ball with like 2 and change left. And I thought, well, let me just wait until this thing's final, because, like, I don't want to look like an idiot sending a Jason Bean, like, dumpy tweet if KU ends up winning. KU did end up winning, deleted the tweet, but it was something to the effect of Bean was terrible down the stretch, didn't make any plays they needed him to make. Like, this is just the reality of playing with a backup quarterback. Glad I didn't press send, but a lot of people did press send, including this guy. But there were a lot of people who, like, were publicly tweeting stuff like, "This guy fucking sucks."
Nick, are on Fraud Watch. for not hitting send.
No,
fraud watch. Because you're a wait and see guy, wait and see before you fire off the take. Either you take it or you don't. This is sports. You fire off those takes with no care with what happens next.
So you want me to operate with reckless abandon?
Yes, fraud watch.
No, I'm not. I'm the smart one. I'm the smart one who waited to see if it was actually.
That pisses me off. The takes are all there and you hide them. You mask them. You don't let them fly.
I waited. I'm a results oriented guy.
We're a show it all guy. I thought you were a show it all guy, and you didn't show. I
can't believe I'm the one receiving criticism instead of all the people who were basically saying KU can't win with Jason Bean.
You were saying it too.
I didn't though, but I didn't say it.
Yeah,
that's the point here.
Fraud.
I thought it.
And you know what? Shout out to the guy that sent it to us because he showed it. He showed it all. That's what we're about. And he was accountable. He said, hand up. That's on me. Let's fucking go. That's what he said.
Well, here's the difference between me and all the simps out there. Here's the difference is that if I would have tweeted that out, I wouldn't have apologized later. I wouldn't have been like, yeah, that one's on me. Like, Bean, he came through when they needed him. Don't apologize. That's who's on Fraud Watch. If you send a tweet and you're shitting on Jason Bean, and then 5 minutes later after KU wins, you come back and say, yeah, you know what? You try to explain it. I know we all say some things on here. Dude, don't be a bitch. You said it. Stand by it. If you meant it then,
just said hand up.
Then you should mean it after KU loses. Not him. I'm not talking about him specifically. I'm talking about the people who are publicly tweeting. So then you send it out into the world, and then you've got to come back 2 minutes later and justify it or explain it away or apologize.
I guess the world should wait and see. That's how Twitter should be.
Yeah, it should actually. Yeah, it should. Why don't you wait until the clock hits 0? How's that for a thought? Here's another thought.
No one tweet during the game.
No. Here's another thought. You don't need to share every single thought that pops into your head.
Does everyone need to share everything all the time?
Not everybody needs to know every single thing that you're thinking at every moment.
We're doing the Bo Burnham. Shout out to Bo Burnham.
Can anybody shut the fuck up about anything ever?
It's so good.
Oh, dude, I love this one. Okay, so this is a photo submission, and it's a collage. I really hope this guy made this. It's a collage of the different uniform combos that KU has wore this year. I don't think the math adds up in this because there's 8 different photos, and KU's only played 7 games. But on the top are all of the monochromatic uniforms the KU's won. They've worn all blue, all black, all white, and all red. Oh, okay. Yeah, they have played 8 games. Okay, I'm stupid.
No, yeah.
And they've wore the all blue twice, including yesterday. They're 5-0, Mike, when wearing monochrome uniform combinations. But the 3 times they've not, they wore white on blue, blue on red, and white on red. They are 1-2. Does KU need to go monochromatic the rest of the season?
This is what Pantone Guy has been saying in the Pantone group text. You got to go single color. Pick a color. We need to be uniform. I absolutely think that this is critical to what we're seeing on the field. Kansas, look at the results here. Look at the stats. Do your analysis. Pretty clear. Monochrome. Rest of the season. KU fans, monochrome. Let's figure it out.
I have a uniform take.
Please take.
Don't ever wear, and they're showing one in this picture, the all reds. Don't ever wear the old Trajan font football uniforms ever again.
Yep.
They are too soft for a football jersey.
Look how the big the other ones are.
Is so much cooler.
Yep.
Dude, when they were wearing the all blues, that was, and they wore the white helmets this time. Earlier this season, they wore them with the blue helmets. They're both sick. But the come up on the uniforms this year for Kansas football cannot be understated. It is such a massive upgrade. I hated the Trajan font football jerseys because like it looks like business letterhead. It does not belong on a football uniform.
When you see them next to each other, it's so clear. And there's like every game, I'd say there's a moment in the first quarter where there'll be some, tight shot on a KU player with the block letters or the circus. And every time I'm like, God, these jerseys look good. So yeah, absolutely, completely agree. Burn them. Burn the old jerseys. Legitimately do it as a ritual on campus. Raise money for NIL somehow through it
by burning. Wait a minute, you're gonna raise money by burning jerseys.
You can sell tickets. You can stream.
And by the way, I'm all aboard.
You pay to throw one in. I'm
all aboard the all reds. Yep. But you need to switch it to block lettering.
Yep.
Don't bring back the Trajan font ever again.
Yep. Good take.
Down with Trajan.
Good take.
Down with Trajan.
Well, we won't see much more of it.
Okay, next submission. My take for this week. The coaching staff is now going to start having serious conversations this week about redshirting Jalon Daniels and letting Jason Bean start for the rest of the regular season. A possible situation where Bean plays out the regular season and Daniels comes back for the bowl game. From my understanding, I believe you can play up to 4 games in a season to count as a redshirt one. Now, this ultimately depends on where Jalon is at health-wise starting this week. First off, is that correct? Is his understanding correct that you can play?
I think that's right. I could be wrong, but I believe that's correct.
Yeah, that's actually the beauty of this podcast is we don't have to. I'm
not going to Google it. I'm pretty sure that's right, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, and I just don't feel like it. I could, but I don't feel like it. As for the idea that like there's a possibility that Jalon could redshirt this year, the only way I think that happens is if he's legitimately not healthy to go. They're not going to sit him if he's ready to play. Because remember back to 2 years ago when Jalon comes in, wins the Texas game in Austin, they had the opportunity. Like, he didn't have to play that season because he could have saved that year of eligibility and he could have redshirted that year. And he, on the record, went on the Rich Eisen show and said, like, I don't care about that. I'm playing this season. So the idea that now when you actually have something significant to play for, that they're going to be like, no, we want to preserve his year of eligibility. No, this is it right here, Mike. Yeah. Like this is it. We have to stop looking towards the future. I mean, in like future years, we can do that later. Like we can talk about who's leaving after the season, who's going to be back, how good will KU be next year, who's going to be the quarterback, all that stuff. You're in it. This is the point. This is the goal. Yeah. This is why you build a program, is to be in the exact spot that Kansas football is in right now. And for all we know, I hope I'm not right, but for all we know, this is the best Kansas team Lance Leipold will ever have. We don't know. So you don't leave anything up to chance and hang things out for next year to set yourself up for future success. All in this season. You do whatever you can do to win as many games as possible. Go to the best bowl game you possibly can and win that game. Yeah.
And Jalon can come back next year if he wants. So I don't think you need that. You're playing for a 6-year of Jalon Daniels. It'd be awesome. But here's the thing. Even if he's not healthy Saturday, he doesn't go against Iowa State. Your last 3 games, Texas Tech, you end at Cincinnati, and right in the middle is K-State, KU. Like, you play them. Doesn't matter when. It does not matter when. You're not saving it. If he can come back, especially for November 18th against the Wildcats in Lawrence here on the Could Be Wrong Network. Just kidding.
Have you heard any good Jalon rumors lately? I heard a good one this week.
It's just he's transferring, right? He's leaving with Lance. That's my favorite one.
So but I heard an even juicier one. He's actually leaving to go back to his hometown, not for UCLA, Mike, but to go play for Lincoln Riley in USC. That was the one I heard this week. And big NIL deal. They dropped him a big NIL bag. He's going to USC.
Yeah. I don't know who USC has coming in next year, but I don't know that Lincoln Riley is going to be their coach next year. Like the wheels are kind of falling off.
He'll be the coach. They're not
no. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of NFL conversation about Lincoln, about Linky Dinky.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You're on the ground floor. You're surrounded by Trojans.
I went to USC Utah. I was
shout out the Utes.
I was yelling, he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be here with us at the end of the USC Utah game. A lot of us's and we's. By the way, USC football games are interesting. There were a lot of people there. They didn't really care. And there were a lot of beautiful people there. Like it was a scene. It was really, really interesting. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Lincoln Riley. USC's, there's not some NIL deal locked in to go to Los Angeles already. He could have done that this offseason again to go to UCLA. Keeps it like the opportunity was there if he wanted it. Unless that family, like his family, is upset with Key's medical staff for some reason. Like none of that makes sense to me.
Oh, Joel Embiid situation.
Joel got with an agent.
And maybe this will be a Joel Embiid situation if he doesn't play in the postseason, and we'll say, oh, if only he was healthy, they would have won the national championship, right? Same deal here with Jalen.
Playoff.
All right, this is our last one.
Awesome.
This is our last one. And this is going to be a good transition into the final portion of this episode. Boys. Oh, we got bulleted list.
Boys.
How about them Hawks? Dream season equals back on track, but I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped another unexpected road loss. Dude, vibes. We're vibey. The boys are buzzing, and you're talking about losses. Either way, we're pretty fucking dangerous at home. Number 2, can we get a Vernon rant about the student section? It seems appropriate. We'll get to that soon. 3, I recently discovered K-State and Arizona share a mascot and the exact same hand gesture. I feel like there can only be one in the new conference, and Arizona has a national championship. So thoughts. I think it's this right here.
It kills me.
Okay, I want to start with number 1. I'm not thinking about losses right now. I'll tell you that much.
It's a hedge. This is a hedge. Dream season.
Emotional hedge.
Yeah. No, let's dream.
Let's dream. Let's dream big. Can we get a Vernon rant about the student section on Monday? So for those who are unaware of what this person is referring to, you had the lightning delay. How long did it last? A couple hours?
I think it was like an hour.
And when they came back, the student section was significantly emptier than it was prior to. Is that rant worthy?
Yeah, I think
Don't force it. Don't force it if it's not there.
No.
If it was rant worthy, you'd probably come in a little hot, and I don't feel like you are.
I was hot on Saturday because you're beating Oklahoma when the rain delay happens. You're up 14-7 on the number 6 team in the country, and it was a great crowd. The players are asking for a great crowd. Okay, it sleets. You have no cell service. The concourses are trash. But the players are going to run out an hour later looking directly at the students, right? They're coming from the corner. If they're running straight across the field, they're running toward the student section essentially. And there were like 2 rows of students at that point. Like it had to be deflating. It had to be a deflating situation. I get it, like leaving and going to the bars when it's sleeting on you, but could at least like half of the students stayed? It seemed like all of them left, which is so fickle when you're beating that team. The moment was there. The dream season was right in front of you, and you kind of bailed. And a lot of the other fans seemed to stay. A lot of the old fans that, you can give shit to during basketball season leave early, show up late. Like, no, sorry. The rest of the stadium stayed. The students bailed. Where I hedge is like, I do, like, okay, you want to go have fun. I get it. But like, come on. So many, like 90% of the student section left. In the face of the dream season, it was upsetting to me. You cannot do that. Am I wrong, Nick? Could I be wrong? I'm asking for the good take. I know, like I kind of know, but that's because it all worked out. If the team just was deflated afterwards and didn't respond, you don't think that there'd be some like, and the students left when you're up 14-7. Like, that's upsetting.
I think you're wrong, and I'm trying to find the delicate way I couldn't disagree more, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I know I'm setting myself up for that.
Well, dude, you can't. We've got to stop legislating fandom. We've got to stop doing that. And we've been doing it all season. And we've been doing it. We did it last year. We did it the year before. Got to stop doing this.
It matters.
I don't
right
care.
Now.
I don't care though, dude. I don't care if it matters. It doesn't. That's not the way we make decisions. That's not the way any of those students that were in that game when the lightning delay happened. No, not one person was having a conversation. Okay, you guys want to get out of here? Oh, but what about the players? What about the dream season?
No, they'll
be so deflated if we leave.
No, they're definitely like dream season bar.
No, they're saying, no, I want to stick around. This is a huge game. Like, that's what they're saying.
No, they're talking dream season.
But like the idea, you can't convince people to feel a certain way. They either feel it or they don't. And
yeah, but I can criticize how they feel.
Go for it. The same way that people criticize teams who rush the field and say, oh, like the conversations that happen every single Monday of like, oh, they shouldn't have rushed the field. They were favored. Oh, yeah. Like the drunk students in the student section are saying, wait a minute, guys, let's not rush the field. We were 7.5 point favorites. Like it doesn't like students are going to do what they want to do. They're going to do what they want to do. And the experience factor of like Kansas football, when you sign up to go to school at Kansas, if you're not from Kansas and you go to KU, what do you know? Oh, they got a great basketball program. You're going to love Allen Fieldhouse. You got to check it out. It's like a once in a lifetime experience. No one's thinking that about Kansas football. And it's something that is earned over years and years of saying like, hey, KU football games are fun. This is a great team. They're fun to watch. There is not that baked in identity with this program. You can be upset. You can wish and hope that Kansas football gets to the point where students want to stick around for these games, but we can't legislate it and like demand it of them and say, this is ridiculous. I can't believe you guys, they're students, man. These are 18 to 20-year-old college students. They are not making decisions based off of history and what it means to the program and what it means for Lance Leipold at Kansas and what it means to these players to see the student section full. That is not the way these kids make decisions. I understand the frustration. I understand wanting to be more. And I understand wanting to be a legitimate football program that's like respected for the way that fans show up, but that's just not how it works.
I'm not saying that that's why they made the decision. I'm just saying it's a result of the decision. And right now, there is so much at stake that I think it is worth acknowledging and talking about, because you need to show this coach who's going to have whatever job openings pop up, like kind of his pick, that the support is going to be there for the players from everyone. Like, I think you've got to keep showing it. And I know that's not why it's on their why they're making that decision, but I think it's worth saying still. Like, even if it's both are true, both can be true. Like, I get that's why fine, I get why the decision was made, but it still is like, as a fan, in having seen KU blow this opportunity so many times, and you can feel like the chance that's ahead, I think it's worth being like, that sucked that it happened. It did happen. I get why it happened, but it still sucked.
Yeah, that's fine. No, yeah, I agree. It does suck. Like I wish every game was a sellout. I wish the students cared about football in a way they care about basketball. But like that respect is earned.
It is.
Kansas basketball has decades and decades of rich tradition of being one of the best basketball programs in Allen Fieldhouse, being the best basketball experience in the world.
Yeah, it's a pride of
like to expect 2.5 years of this turnaround to wash away the ugly tradition of Kansas football over the past 30 years is unrealistic. I hope we get to that point. It's a conversation worth having. I'm not saying like we should just ignore it and never discuss it. Where I push back on is the idea that like, come on, like the students are somehow letting the program down. They're college students.
I agree. I get why it happened, but it's still, I think it's still worth flagging.
We're flagging it.
I'm not that hot on it, but like, it's going to take a lot of people. It shouldn't be on the students, but 2.5 years.
It takes a village. It's
going to be like half the student body, and it's freshmen and sophomores are going to be more prone to going to games anyway.
What I don't want to do is set ourselves up for the moment, whether it's this year, next year, 5 years from now, if Lance Leipold takes a job at a bigger program. I don't want to set ourselves up for this like conversation of, oh, if only the fans would have shown up, then Lance would still be here. It's like, no, I mean,
no, it's like if only KU could have offered him $3 million more a year.
It's like there's always more, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's always more you could have done to retain this guy or to have accomplished this or to have accomplished that. I mean, I get it, but like also I think there is an element of we need to be realistic about like who Kansas is as a program, and as excited as we all are about where they're at and hopefully where they're headed.
Yeah.
We can't then let that cloud our perspective of like who they are and where they sit in the national landscape and like what they've been for most of our lifetimes and even before that. So I'm trying to give some perspective here.
No,
I know this is like a hot button issue, and a lot of people are annoyed with the fact that the booth isn't selling out and that students aren't sticking around, et cetera, like fan support. I get it, but like there's a reason for that, and ignoring that I think is disingenuous to the conversation.
I just sneezed, and I have breaking news though. I muted the sneeze.
Hit me.
Kansas football has been named the Cheez-It National Team of the Week by the Football Writers Association of America in Cheez-Its. And the football account tweeted, "I woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach." Not a fan of the tweet, but I love that Cheez-Its giving out awards.
Yeah, and I love that like it said there on behalf, like presented by Cheez-Its. Like I like to think, you know, the board of directors at Nabisco or whoever makes Cheez-Its got together and like grinded the tape. You know, shout out Cheez-Its, man. I mean, shout out Cheez-Its. I mean,
Cheez-It Bowl. Yeah. So I want
Cheez-Its. Yeah, Cheez-Its are for sure the sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week.
No.
The eighth recipient this week.
Well, they're
okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we did get a little season outlook there from that last submission. Iowa State this weekend, 4 games left. And Iowa State, who I will hand up on this one, haven't watched a single game they've played this year.
Why?
But they have ripped off 3 in a row, albeit against TCU, Cincy, and Baylor. So not exactly like the toughest stretch of games. They do have a quarterback named Rocco. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yep. Good take.
Not a great offense. Good defense. I'm not worried about them. I don't give a shit how good your defense is. I don't care. I do not care how good your defense is. KU has proven time and time again they can score on anyone. They will put up points. Congrats on your good defense. Can you score 30? No, you don't have a shot. Yes, could be a game. Live line on this is Kansas dogs.
Yep. So
1.5 dogs.
Yeah, Kansas. What I can see, it's going to look different depending on where you're looking. I see Kansas opened as a 1-point favorite and is now a 2.5-point dog. Early money pouring in on the Cyclones. Are we doing game preview right now or talking game? I actually have a betting theorem on this that I'd like to address.
Let's hear it.
All right. I love betting unranked teams that are favorites against ranked teams. And that's what this situation is. So Iowa State not ranked. They're the favorite. Kansas ranked is an underdog. Normally, I take that as a huge sign to go with the unranked team. And that makes me a little nervous here. Did you follow kind of the theorem? I just want to make sure that I explained it okay.
Yeah, I do. And I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. I did this a couple weeks ago. Yeah. With Kentucky versus Florida, and it treated me well.
Yeah. But Iowa State, 3 wins against shitty teams. So I think they're maybe a little overrated. And KU, everyone's going to say like flying high after this win. Obviously, they're not really like, I haven't seen KU behave this season in a way that makes me think that they're going to collapse after a win like this. That's not really the way Leipold has coached them. We've seen pretty consistent play. And so I'm not as worried about it. I think a lot of bettors are going to think that, oh, Iowa State's hot, Kansas coming off a big win. So now I'm getting into the psychology of betting.
Well, I would say that, like, I joked about who Iowa State's played lately, TCU, Cincy, Baylor. I mean, none of those teams have a winning record
You're
this
flipping
season.
me off.
And like the formula for which Iowa State won those games, it's like hold the other team to less than 20 points because they do have a good defense. Again, I would say
doesn't matter.
Great offense beats great defense. It just does. And we have been given no indication that Iowa State is going to be able to hold Kansas under 20 points. It's just not going to happen. So I'm really not fearful of Iowa State. And much like we said about Oklahoma last week, I said this last week on the podcast, and I'll say it again for Iowa State because it's even more true. Oklahoma, going into the Kansas game, they had beaten Texas, really good team. But as we know, that's not a normal game for either one of those programs, right? That is the biggest game on the schedule every single year. End of conversation. That was the best team they'd played. But aside from that, weak non-con schedule, and they hadn't played any one of the upper tier Big 12 teams. Iowa State is 5-3 on the season. They lost to Iowa. They lost to Iowa in non-con. They lost to Ohio in non-con, and they got ran off the field by Oklahoma. They're riding a 3-game winning streak against 3 mid Big 12 teams. They have not faced an opponent like Kansas. It was true about Oklahoma last week. It's true about Iowa State this week. They have not faced this caliber of opponent. By the way, they lost to Oklahoma by 30. Kansas beat, frauds. Iowa State is frauds. Iowa State, major frauds. And they're on fraud watch. They're on fraud watch this week. 1.5 point dogs, by the way. I fucking love that for Kansas. Not for me as a bettor. I love it for Kansas. Motivation. Oh, they think you just beat Oklahoma and they think Iowa State's going to beat you. No.
We disagreed about the students. We are back. I am torqued. You have fired me up.
Back.
Oh,
the boys are buzzing.
We are back.
The boys are buzzing.
It is totally true. They haven't played anyone like Kansas. What world is this?
We're going to get to the end of the season. Iowa State's going to be a bottom tier Big 12 team by the end of the season. They finished the year against Kansas, BYU, Texas, and K-State. They could lose all of those games. So I love we're catching them right here.
I do too. Everyone's looking at what Kansas is coming off of, but they're just totally overvaluing, I think, what Iowa State's done. I love it. I'm fired up. Go on the road, get that revenge for the Okie State loss almost. Take care of business. Take care of business. They're going to do it.
Record prediction time.
Wee woo. Okay.
Last week.
Okay.
So after the Oklahoma State game, I was at 9-3. After the bye week, I was up to 10-2. So I'm feeling great right now. I feel so good right now because I called my shot.
Yeah.
It happened. If you think I'm backing off 10-2, you got another thing coming. KU's running the table. The only question is New Year's Six Bowl? New Year's Six Bowl? What? New Year's Six Bowl, I said. Nope, don't look like that. New Year's Six Bowl. I'll say it again. KU's playing in a New Year's Six Bowl, 10-2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What about if that happens? Arlington is on the table.
That should be the goal, right?
Yeah.
Now. Like, make no mistake about it. We can laugh about it.
It's not funny.
We can laugh.
I mean, it's
and
funny.
Joke. Go back to the beginning of the season. We were talking about what would be a good season, what would be a bad season.
Yeah.
And we said the goal should be to be in the mix.
Yes.
At the end of October. Be in the mix with a month to play. Be in the conversation.
Let me check my
Kansas,
calendar.
After their win over Oklahoma. What's the date?
October 30th. We are sick.
After that win, they're in the conversation. Firmly. There are no caveats. So people around the Big 12 can laugh and joke, you're not going to the Big 12 championship. Okay. They control their own destiny. Win these games, and you're going to the Big 12 championship. It is absolutely a realistic conversation to be having right now.
Yeah. The conversation is totally realistic. Well, you can't come off a win
Actually,
against.
you know what? It's not realistic for you. It's not realistic for you.
Why?
You know, it's funny you asked that. I'm glad you asked why.
What
I had an answer
do to me? What just happened? Have I just been lured into a trap?
Of this podcast?
I've been lured into a trap.
This is episode 10.
I've been lured into a trap.
This is episode 10 of this podcast. And in episode 1, you set the tone of being the suckbag loser of the week because you are actually now, it's confirmed. You're the suckbag loser of the week because you said keep expectations reasonable, 6 wins, go to a bowl.
Yeah.
So
now we've exceeded.
KU could lose out. So KU could lose out and you'd be happy.
I wouldn't be happy.
Suckbag.
I wouldn't be happy.
Suckbag.
But I'd be like
loser.
It's just not even on the table, so it doesn't matter.
That's right.
Hand up. What am I supposed to do?
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, they've exceeded expectations. That's exactly what it is. They're 6-2. I say 9-3. You got a couple road games, couple toughies left on the schedule. You're an underdog right now. So 9-3 Kansas football. That's my record prediction. And I accept my status as suckbag loser because I was reasonable and the team has exceeded expectations. What the fuck do you want? What do you want from me?
When are you going to learn?
Never.
You have been reasonable and measured all season long. What has that got you? Nothing. I shoot for the stars and I'm the fucking man.
No, you
look at
fucking
me.
No, I will call. What did you say?
Look at me. I'm the man. I have been shooting for the stars and I've been landing on the moon.
You think you're the man?
Every single
You think you're the man?
I do, dude.
No,
because I said 10-2
last week.
KU beats Oklahoma. Stop softening the blow. Why are you?
KU's an underdog right now, and I'm all jacked up.
Why are you sitting here setting the table for the possibility of KU losing another game in the regular season? Like, why is that your guess?
No, we're doing predictions. No, I
yes,
am going to predict 9-3. Am I? What am I supposed? You just want me to blind go fucking red and just only see dream season? Dream season or bust? Wait. Are we officially in dream season or bust territory? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Dream season or bust. 9-3 isn't good enough for you.
Not at this point.
No, that's crazy.
When are you going to have this opportunity again? When are you going to have this opportunity again?
Next year when you bring these sick, rich, badass mofos back.
It'll be different. It's going to be a different era of the Big 12. To play in the Big 12 championship game against Texas?
Who gives a fuck? I still want to go to the Big 12 game. Bless you. That is your...
Yeah, shout out histamines.
That sneeze was your body saying, I actually don't believe that it's dream season or bust.
Because I'm allergic to your bullshit. And my body is rejecting it.
No way, man. It is 9-3 is awesome. It is great. 9-3 is great. 9-3.
Yeah, 10-2 is a little greater.
Yeah, I agree. All right, dream season or bust. Do you want me to just say you're right?
Yes. What do you think I've been angling for this entire time? Hey, before we wrap up, I do want to do a little Jalon Daniels talk.
Wait, I have a real sick rich badass mofo. When do you want me to do that? At the end, or do you want to do Jalon at the end?
I want to do Jalon now.
Okay.
We'll get to your sick, rich, hot, badass mofo. Okay. There was the report from, I think it was like Bruce Feldman.
Man, this Oklahoma game
Brett McMurphy
tore us apart.
And they said that Jason Bean was going to start, but that Jalon would be available if needed, which was an interesting way of phrasing it because I'm like, well, he is needed. So I guess fucking strap him up, man. Like, see you out there because it's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Kind of needs you.
Yeah.
Didn't end up needing him. Won the game without him. It just like adds another layer of confusion to this entire situation. But I said this last week, and I'm going to stay true to my word. I'm done doing this every single week of like, well, if he plays, then this. If he doesn't play, then this.
We haven't done.
I'm going to operate this week as if Jason Bean is the starter. If Jalon's out there, great. But I'm not going to spend all week trying to like peel back the layers of this onion and figure out, what's going on with him. I am to assume he's still not healthy. He's not ready to go. And if you ask me to give an outlook for the final month of the season, I would say Jason Bean is going to be your starting quarterback the rest of the year. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to keep doing this every week of like, well, maybe he could come back this week. When he comes back, but I'm not like holding my breath for it anymore.
I think that's right. I mean, would you say you're operating? So you're a doctor, you're Jalon doctor. We had Dr. Shits on the show today. So I think that's totally fair. It is not worth going, oh, the Jalon thing. If he plays, awesome. I don't know. I don't know what this like in case of emergency thing totally meant. It pisses me off in retrospect because that was the gist I got as well. It must have meant like if Jason Bean was like injured and there was a chance to win.
Yeah, if he got it.
That was it. That was the only way.
So you think if he would have gotten injured, Jalon would have came in? Like, do you honestly believe that?
No, I don't.
Because I don't.
I don't either.
I don't.
I don't either. I know that was the gist, but it's hard to imagine.
I think that was looking ahead to Iowa State.
Yeah.
I think that was setting the table for Iowa State to entertain the idea that Jalon's coming back.
Gamesmanship. No, I think I agree that until we are told otherwise, the will he won't he isn't really going to fly. It's been going since the word in the Texas game, or like once that word broke. Like it's pretty annoying. So I think you're right. We are on the
astutely put.
We are on the Bean train. What is astutely put? That it's annoying, or that
Beano
right?
Express? No, well said. A Beano Express is what we're calling.
Yeah, Beano Express,
according to the Show It All game.
Beano Express makes me think of like a medicine that makes you relieves constipation.
I agree.
Okay.
Who's the sick, rich, hot, badass mofo?
We've done so many runner-ups, but the true Sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week, and emphasis on hot, is your head football coach, Lance Leipold. Mostly emphasis on rich, actually, because he is popping up right now as the guy, the number one candidate. The national media types are all over this turnaround. So whether it's Kansas or someone else, Lance Leipold gonna get paid. Seems pretty inevitable at this point. Hopefully it's just Kansas. So, but he definitely qualifies here for all of these, especially with Rich.
Will this be a situation where he gets another extension before the season ends?
I hope so.
If he gets one.
Yeah, I think that would be a great scenario because
we're entering fired dipshit territory, right? Like fired loser of the week, because coaches are going to start getting fired.
Yeah. Oh, that's a new
universities are going to start. They're going to start with the coaching searches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And by the time bowl season gets around, that little 3-4 week lull, that's when we start to hear a lot of the whispers of this guy's being courted. The short list is this for this school, and Lance will end up on some of them.
Maybe
we're about a month away from like potentially him getting a new contract.
She's going to be on any better jobs short list. Michigan State, Michigan, maybe. Those are the two you've got to. I'm not as worried about Michigan State. Michigan is like, well, shit. If they want Lance Leipold, they're going to get Lance
Leipold. Michigan is not hiring a Kansas football coach. I'm sorry. They're not going to be able to sell
I probably agree.
Fans on that.
I agree. Especially like Lance is kind of awkward. Like, let's be honest. They're going to, he's not like.
Have you seen their current head coach?
Yeah, but their current head coach once took a player's blood and smeared it on his face. That's not really the Lance Leipold style. And coach in the Super Bowl.
Michigan demands that.
And coach in the Super Bowl. It's an easier sell. I'm just saying Lance isn't the biggest rah guy.
I don't even think Lance would be on the short list.
He totally would.
Dude, you're not.
He absolutely would.
He would not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Michigan is not hiring.
Not what I'm saying.
The Kansas football. That is what you're saying.
No, we're about to get leveraged into a big old payday. That's what's going to happen. I just read like Stuart Mandel. I just listened to Wetzel and 40 talking about like they're just raving about Leipold right now. Coach of the year. He's going to be in the conversation. And even if he's not actually in the conversation, his agent, Brian Harlan, brother of Kevin Harlan, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, is going to he's going to make sure Lance's name is out there. Bruce Feldman will be writing it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But that's different than like actually being a serious consideration for the Michigan job, which is what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you right now, the University of Michigan, all right, this is not like, oh, nice Big Ten program. I'm talking about a top 5 program in college football. I have a really hard time imagining they're going to say, that's our guy.
I agree. I do ultimately agree.
They can call anyone. It's like Kansas basketball.
Cliff?
Like Kansas basketball, like they can call they could call Brad Stevens. He'll answer the phone, maybe say no, but they get to call anyone. That's how Michigan football is.
Maybe they'll hire Urban.
Dude, did you see that picture of Haney and David Lawrence with Urban?
No.
They took a photo with like each of the Fox, the Big Noon Kickoff guys, and Matt Leinart smiling and Mark Ingram smiling, and then Urban Meyer just looked like he couldn't wait to hit the bird dog for a Mick Ultra. Like, did not want to be in Lawrence, Kansas, or at least didn't want to be at that football game.
Yeah. I think that is. Well, he was getting out of town. They flew him right out of there. So I don't know, like who else is. I don't know who else is out there. He's not going to be the top choice.
I don't know. I'm not really.
Yeah. All right. We'll leave it. Mike Elko It's going to be popular. I understand. I'm just saying, like, dudes.
Dan Lanning, like those are the guys that get to call.
Yeah.
Okay, who are the guys who are doing what Kansas is doing at a bigger program? That's who they get to call.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Oh, were you asking me? I was just agreeing.
No. I was just, pausing for
why wouldn't like Kyle Whittingham, Utah's coach? All right. We're fine. You're right. But
let's create the short list for Michigan football for them. And just make sure we leave Leipold off, and we'll pass it along. We'll say, see, you guys don't even want this guy. Look at all the other better coaches that are out
Chris
there.
Kleiman.
Yeah, actually, let's start the campaign of Leipold being a bad coach. I actually think that would be more worthwhile for Kansas if we spend our time, pushing propaganda, anti-Leipold propaganda. That way, other schools catch wind of it, and we get to keep him forever.
Lance, yeah.
Like, has Leipold really done that? Like has Lance really done that great of a job at Kansas? I think that's a fair question to ask.
No, yeah, I think that's definitely a fair question. I'm hearing all sorts of questionable things. And I'm worried about his ability to coach Kansas going forward.
Like, can he win the big game? That's what a lot of people are asking now.
Yeah, and he can't beat the rival. Hasn't
right?
You really want to?
Does he have wins against? Yeah, does he have wins against two of the most historic programs in the Big 12? Like, some are asking that.
Answer's not clear. Did he beat Mike Elko straight up? Not sure. Deion Sanders,
right?
What has he done? Going to Michigan. Lance, what other Lance Leipold thing? Perhaps some vision issues.
Yeah, send us. So for next week, the homework assignment for the Show It All gang, send us your anti-Lance propaganda. And before you say, come on, guys, he's doing great. No, this is for the betterment of the program. You have to stop looking, in the immediate future. Big picture.
We got to nag him.
We're talking big picture.
Yeah.
We got to nag him. We got to keep him around, right? So, codependence, right? That's what we're going for here with Lance. So that's your homework assignment. Send us your.
Can't raise money.
Right,
not good with donors.
Not great with donors. Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue at a place like Michigan. Send us your submissions for next week. KU, Iowa State, Saturday in Ames, late kick. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, review, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out full episodes. Mike put me on Fraud Watch because I went on a golf trip with the boys to Myrtle Beach last week, so didn't do any video stuff. We're back. I'm back.
Dream season or bust?
Dream season or bust for the Kansas football fighting Jayhawks. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, Mike.
Bye, Nicholas.